Salmonella in peanut butter. When we get food poisoning, we often blame the most recent meal and say something like, "Oh, I knew I shouldn't have had the fish last night." But we rarely blame a meal we ate 5 or 6 days ago for our illness, and we rarely imagine a non-perishable, low-moisture food like peanut butter could make us sick. Think again. Salmonella can take up to 6 days to cause symptoms, so a meal we ate almost 1 week ago can be the source of food poisoning. Also, we learned with the Kinder Chocolates recall that happened earlier this year that Salmonella can survive in non-perishable, low-moisture foods and make us sick when we eat them. Last week, the CDC announced a multi-state recall of peanut butter in America, with 16 people sick and 2 in hospital. How does Salmonella get into peanut butter? Salmonella is a ubiquitous type of bacteria, meaning it is commonly present in natural environments. It can also be found in all domestic animals and many wild animals. Humans also carry Salmonella. Have you heard of Typhoid Mary? She was a Salmonella host and asymptomatic carrier of Salmonella typhi. Hosts are so called because they have the bacteria in their guts and shed it in their feces. Mary worked as a cook in America in the late 1800s, and I assume she wasn't great at washing her hands after using the toilet. She managed to kill between 3 and 50 people by contaminating their food with Salmonella. Meat and poultry get contaminated with Salmonella from animal feces during the slaughtering process, which means that raw meats often have Salmonella on their surfaces. If a kitchen isn't properly cleaned, the Salmonella that may have come into the kitchen on raw meats or veg can be incorporated into biofilms. So a kitchen with grungy, slimy biofilms in its corners will most probably contain Salmonella bacteria. Obviously then, hand washing and kitchen hygiene are very important for preventing Salmonella outbreaks. In peanut processing, it's sort of the same situation. The outsides of raw peanuts in the shell, the outsides, will carry Salmonella due to contact with soil. The peanuts are shelled, roasted and ground up to make peanut butter and then deposited in jars. The roasting process kills the Salmonella. But after roasting, there are no other Salmonella kill steps in an ordinary peanut butter making process. It's therefore super important for manufacturers to keep the roasted and ground peanuts well protected from anything that is not incredibly clean and hygienic. This means no contact with human hands, animals, dust, dirt, raw peanuts, dirty equipment where biofilms could lurk, nor any exposure to water that could have come into contact with dirty areas and would therefore potentially contain Salmonella. If, for example, there was bird feces on the roof of a facility and water leaked in from the roof and dripped onto a conveyor belt that was used for roasted peanuts, then you'd get Salmonella in the peanut butter. The Peanut Company of America factories that caused the massive peanut product outbreaks in 2009, and I wrote about those last week in issue 40, had birds and mice in and around them. Yuck! How much Salmonella would make you sick? To make you sick, let's start again, To make you sick, Salmonella needs to get into your small intestine where it can attach itself and grow and cause damage to your insides. In most foods, which contain plenty of water, foods like soups, stews and salads, quite a lot of Salmonella needs to be present to make people sick, more than 1,000 cells per gram of food. We think that's because the acid in your stomach is effective at killing Salmonella. To get levels of Salmonella high enough that a few will survive the stomach acid, you really have to abuse food. And yes, us food safety nerds really do call it abuse. For example, unwashed hands might add just a few cells of Salmonella bacteria to a salad, which wouldn't be enough to make someone sick. To reach levels of 1,000 cells per gram, the salad would need to be also left out of the fridge for more than 4 hours, which would allow the Salmonella to multiply to dangerous levels. In low moisture, high fat foods like chocolate and peanut butter, it's a different story. Researchers think that just 10 bacterial cells per gram might be enough to make people sick. This could be a measurement problem because it's kind of hard to get bacteria out of fatty foods in order to measure them. And they also might be clustered in little clumps inside the food. But it's more likely that the fat in the food protects the salmonella from stomach acid. If this theory is correct, salmonella get a free ride through the acidic stomach inside fat globules in the food. Once past the stomach and in the small intestine, bile breaks the fat down, releasing the bacteria where they go to work inside your guts, making a great big mess. Ouch. How long does salmonella survive in peanut butter? Salmonella doesn't grow in peanut butter. There is not enough water for it to reproduce, but it can persist for up to 6 months, especially if the peanut butter is kept in the fridge. So if it got into the peanut butter during manufacture, it will probably be there at the end of the product's shelf life. In short, salmonella bacteria are ubiquitous in animals and unclean environments. Salmonella can get into peanut butter during the manufacturing process if the manufacturing environment is not hygienic. Once in peanut butter, salmonella does not grow, but even a small number of bacterial cells can make people sick. Salmonella can persist in peanut butter for 6 months. If you'd like the sources for any of the information that I've just said, they are all in the email and can be found in the website archives as well.